Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today we are having another look at Kaspa. Now it has been a reasonably quiet week for Kaspa since my last video, although it has been a very volatile week for the overall market, with Bitcoin touching its all-time high before correcting around 13%. But today I wanted to discuss some of the speculation around potential tier 1 exchange listings for Kaspa in the near future, as well as what prices we can expect in both the short and the longer term. But just before we dive into that, I just wanted to quickly mention again the restaurant that I mentioned in my last video who are accepting Kaspa as payment, the Bold Bistro in Vlora, Albania. The owner of the restaurant actually reached out on that video, which I thought was pretty cool, and I will definitely be taking them up on their offer while I'm still here in Albania. Anyway, there's been a lot of chatter recently about potential Coinbase and Binance listings for Kaspa. Now, the reason we haven't seen that from Kaspa yet is because Kaspa was a fair launch coin, which means there was no token allocation at launch. So there are no team tokens, but also no tokens allocated for stuff like exchange listings. And what that means is that if exchanges want to list Kaspa, then they need to buy Kaspa tokens off the open market to have as liquidity. Whereas with most coins, they would already have some coins set aside to list on exchanges. Now, tier 2s and the other less popular exchanges don't generally have a problem with that, because the trading volume and the new customers they'll bring in from listing a new token is worth it for them to be able to grow their platforms. But for tier 1s like Binance and Coinbase, who would likely need to provide a lot more liquidity, they would really need to see significantly high trading volume to make it worth their while to provide the liquidity they'd need to list a fair launch like Kaspa. And that's ultimately the only reason you see them listing meme coins like Pepe, because they either had tokens allocated already and they paid someone enough money to list them, or their trading volume is just so high that it wouldn't make business sense for them not to list them. And realistically, that's the only time we will see Kaspa on exchanges like Binance and Coinbase. The trading volume needs to be so high that it's economically viable for them to provide the liquidity, and it wouldn't make business sense for them not to list it. At the end of the day, exchanges are businesses and they will list anything that will make them enough money. So really, if we want to have a better idea of when we could be seeing those listings for Kaspa, then we need to start having a look at upcoming events that could drive more volume towards Kaspa. If we have a look over on their website here, as I showed you in my last video, we have the Rust language coding and testing, upgrade consensus to DAG Knight protocol, further increase blocks per second and transactions per second, archival node improvements. But I think the main volume driver for Kaspa in future is going to be this smart contracts implementation. Now, we don't have any sort of estimated date for that yet, but that is the development I would be most looking towards when thinking about future things that could drive volume. Let's head over and take a look at the charts and see what prices we could be looking at in both the short and long term. But just before we do that, if you are wondering about the best place you can currently buy Kaspa, I highly recommend the BingX exchange, where you can actually get 20% off all of your trading fees if you use my link in the pinned comment. Also, quick disclaimer, buying is at your own risk. I'm not a financial advisor and all that shit, you get the point. Alright, here we are on the Kaspa chart, and as you can see, we have had a bit of chop since the last video I did, where I talked about these key support and resistance zones. You can see we have spiked down to revisit this 13-cent level here, a little bit of chop at the 14.5 level. Now, the first thing I want to point out here that I did actually chart up before filming this video, which has now played out. You can see this downtrend here on the RSI, which we have now broken out of, and that was going to be one of my main key points for this video. You can see that has played out for us, and that should result in a nice pump and a return to this 18-cent resistance here. So it is good to see that play out. Now, as I mentioned in my last video, if we are able to break over this 18-cent level, we will be in price discovery again for Kaspa, which does make it tricky to predict future price action. And as I said last time, the best thing we can do in that situation is rely on our psychological milestones and the general state of the rest of the market. Now you can see I have just marked out a couple of them here, our 20 and 25-cent levels. Now, of course, after we break this 18-cent level, the first significant one we will arrive at is 20-cent here. And being a significant psychological milestone, I would expect quite a bit of resistance there. But as we all know, we have now entered a bull market. The overall market is performing very well at the moment. If we just take a quick look over at our Bitcoin chart here, we'll notice it has recovered well from that dip that we had down to 60k. and we are now approaching the all-time high again, currently at 67.3k, but that is good to see. We are looking very good on Bitcoin, and we are likely to continue up into this price discovery zone, which of course will be very good for altcoins. Now, assuming that that does play out with Bitcoin, I would expect Kaspa to initially come up to this 20-cent level, possibly even break it, and as I said, that would also be us in price discovery on Kaspa. So assuming that we do break the 20-cent level, taking into account all the upcoming developments, certainly I think with the smart contract implementation and potentially those big listings happening, that would easily push us up to this 25-cent level. And once we do have those tier 1 listings, then really the sky is the limit for Kaspa. You can see here we are at a market cap of 3.7 billion at the moment, which still leaves us a ton of room to grow. And that is still relatively low when we compare it to other big projects. If Kaspa was adopted by these big tier 1 exchanges, I would easily expect it to be up here with the likes of Polygon and Chainlink. If you look at their market caps right now around the $11-12 billion mark, even that is 3x from where we currently are, which would put us all the way up here, 54 cents. And I definitely think that is achievable for Kaspa, even potentially in the short to mid-term. In the short term, now that we've seen that breakout on the RSI, I would expect us to return to the 18-cent level. If we break that, head up to 20 cent. Heading into the mid-term as more developments start coming in up to this 25-cent level. And then really we just follow these psychological milestones all the way up, 30 cent, 40 cent. And then my ultimate long-term goal at the moment would be up at 50 cent here, once we start getting those tier 1 listings in. If you found this video helpful, a sub to the channel would be greatly appreciated. I've been me, you've been you, thanks for watching, and see you later.